Everton will get us underway on an unseasonably chilly May evening here in North London. Arsenal's renowned playing surface looking better than ever though. No wonder Paul Burgess won the Premiership's Groundsman of the Year award.
No excuses for the players tonight. The pitch does look absolutely magnificent. We've got to get it into feet, otherwise the ball will skim out of play like that one there from Pistone. But it is a great credit to the groundsman. They have managed to recover the pitch, because I saw it mid-season. It looked like it was being worn for the first time in many a year. But it does look magnificent tonight. I know both teams have effectively finished their season in terms of finishing fourth and second. I'm sure this will be a very competitive game tonight.
Over with the headed clearance. Flicked on by McFadden. Straight to Sol Campbell. A big cheer from the fans when his name was read out before the kick-off. He's missed 17 games in all since being injured at the start of February against Manchester United. There's McFadden again for Everton. Happy to see the ball cross the line for their first corner.
A shame he didn't get the crossing. Watson and Arteta got into the middle. Settled for the corner though.
David Weir, who scored his first goal for more than 3 years against Newcastle at the weekend, with the confidence to come forward again, and it's in his direction as well. He ducked under it and finds Arteta. Spanish player's cross could have been dangerous. Back in by Carsley, and easy for Jens Lehmann, who's kept 9 clean sheets in his last 11 games since he regained his place in Arsenal's goal from Almunia. This really new partnership at the heart of Arsenal's defence, Senderos and Campbell side by side. It's been Senderos and Toure for so long, of course. Pistone restored to left back in the Everton side. He's lost his place in recent weeks. Vieira's challenge, the referee allowing play to go on with Everton in possession with Yobo. And now Hibbert, who's had a very consistent season for them at right back. Here he is again. Watson on the overlap. Well read by Campbell, whose aerial power, of course, will be an extra vital factor for Arsenal. There's a good ball for Arteta, and he might have done better.
Good chance, wasn't it? Lovely run from James Beattie. Decoy run, watch Beattie. He goes one way, and then the gap appears. I thought he could have done better there. Got to strike it perhaps on his left foot. Tried to curl it with his right foot. Credit to Lehmann though, in the right position.
Arteta, as you saw, one of several Everton players whose immediate future is in doubt. He's on loan officially from Real Sociedad in the Spanish League. And Everton are yet to sit down with him and discuss the possibility of a permanent transfer. So a lot of the players out there tonight don't know what their immediate futures will be. And that includes, of course, one notable man in the Arsenal ranks in Dennis Bergkamp, though Arsene Wenger has said in his match notes in tonight's official programme that he intends to sit down with the Dutchman in the summer and discuss a new deal. Bergkamp the target for that through ball, one back by Yobo, Carsley, and behind Hibbert, Arsenal's throw. Remarkably, if Everton win tonight and in their final game away to Birmingham on Sunday, they'll actually equal the number of victories they enjoyed last season when, of course, they won the title in record-breaking style. Here's Van Persie. Perez. On to Lauren. Van Persie again. Now Patrick Vieira. Into Edu. Bergkamp. Clever.
How many times have we seen him do that? Dennis Bergkamp just opens his body up, tries to curl it towards the top corner. They had to be patient, Arsenal, because there wasn't anyone in the middle. Just gets in that little area, creates his own space, and is trying to whip it to the top corner. See it lovely from this angle. I've seen him score so many goals over the years. Not this time.
He scored when Arsenal beat Everton 4-1 at Goodison back in August, and at that stage I must say the many pessimistic forecasts for Everton's season looked as though they could come true. Remember, they'd lost Wayne Rooney, Thomas Brzezinski as well. There'd been a boardroom upheaval, financial problems. They'd sailed close to the wind in terms of relegation in the previous campaign, and all looked far from rosy, which makes the way this season has turned out all the more remarkable.
I think I was one of them, Alan. That first game when they did lose to Arsenal, heavy defeat. really feared for them.
Van Persie, good challenge by Yobo, Arsenal's corner.
Good tackle from Yobo, had to win the ball. It's a good run from Van Persie. Before Bergkamp to see him. All about timing. He was spot on with that.
Perez will take the kick. Senderos and Campbell both run to the near post area. It's an easy take for Richard Wright, playing just his 11th game of the season in Everton's goal. Enormous kick downfield, has gone straight through to his opposite number, Lehmann. He finds Bergkamp. Lauren, Edu. Almost certainly will be the Brazilian Edu's final game here at Highbury. He has said he intends to leave in the summer.
A good servant for the club, hasn't he, Edu? I think they will miss him.
Senderos with the ball over the top, straight through again to Richard Wright. Pistone. Everton have qualified for Europe for the first time since they won the FA Cup 10 years ago, and it's 25 years since they last qualified through their league position. Fourth is the highest they've ever finished since the Premiership was formed.
Done a fantastic job, hasn't he, David Moyes? Can't praise him enough, really. From that dreadful start they had in the first game to qualify for the Champions League is an outstanding achievement. You can talk about Mourinho, Wenger, Ferguson, all their good seasons. I think David Moyes has done a brilliant job.
Sixth, incidentally, was the previous best Everton had achieved. That was under Joe Royle some 9 years ago. Lauren under pressure from Kilban. Arteta keeps the pressure going, but Arsenal pop the ball about. Oh, to that moment, till Senderos gives it away. What a mistake that was to let in Beatty.
Got away with it, didn't he, Senderos? I think Beatty got a nasty whack as well from Sol Campbell. Just trying to pass it across to his defensive partner, trying to take it early, Beatty. Did get a whack from Sol Campbell. I think he's okay though.
Watson wins it back for Everton, then runs into trouble in the considerable shape of Vieira. Edu. Here's Bergkamp. And they just back away, Everton, inviting the ball to Van Persie, who completes a superb move in brilliant style. 8 minutes gone, the two Dutch masters, young and old, combine to give Arsenal yet another goal, their 80th in the Premiership this season.
Well, I said he'd turn it on tonight, didn't I, Dennis Bergkamp? But Everton have only got themselves to blame. Fantastic play. What's this run from Van Persie? The through ball is absolutely brilliant from Dennis Bergkamp. Because anyone can pass the ball between two defenders, but it's all about the weight. Look at the weight. He's only got to stroke it in the corner. The through ball is absolutely brilliant. Good finish from Van Persie. That was all about Dennis Bergkamp.
Van Persie's 5th goal in his last 8 games. It's the first time, by the way, that Van Persie and Bergkamp have started together in a Premiership match. And we've just seen what they're capable of. Could it be, however, a short-lived partnership? And Everton have been rocked, as so many teams have throughout the last 8 or 9 months, by an early Arsenal goal. And when Arsenal score first, they usually win. Just one defeat in the last 70 games in which they've taken the lead. Everton hoping they're going to get a free kick there, but Mr. Wiley's indicated just a throw. Yes. Carsley. Yobo. Good turn by McFadden.
I think they've made a bright start, Everton, generally, but it just proves against a top-class team you cannot give possession away in midfield because they're just so good. They exploit it, Arsenal. We've already seen examples of their 1 and 2 touch and their movement. Spoke about it at the start of the game. You asked me if it is second to none. You're probably right, Alan, because when they do pass it 1 and 2 touch, there aren't many better teams. So evident with that goal. Superb stuff.
Well, I thought Arsenal's football in the first half here on Sunday against Liverpool was as good as anything I've seen all season. Senderos on to Campbell. Arsenal have won 10 of their last 11 games in League and Cup. Here's Bergkamp. Challenge from McFadden. Bergkamp didn't think so. And almost retaliated then. He did. Free kick to Everton.
He's got that side to his game, hasn't he, Dennis Bergkamp? I've seen it over the years, can't take that away from him. Just a bit disappointed he didn't get the free kick in the first place.
Richard Wright's almost opening task of the game to pick the ball out of his net. On the ground where, of course, he won the double in his only season as an Arsenal player. Senderos got up well, Vieira. Edu. Bergkamp. Oh, what a ball for Reyes. Van Persie pulls short. It's gone to Pires. Brilliant save by Wright. But Pires knocks home the rebound. They may be runners-up, but they're turning on championship style already, Arsenal.
That's another fantastic finish from Robert Pires. But again, Dennis Bergkamp's ball is sheer quality. They don't know what to do with him, Everton. Look where he picks the ball up. Tony Hibbitt's ball watching. But look at the weight of pass in behind. Good play from Reyes. He's actually trying to pick out Van Persie. I think that's a good save from Richard Wright. And he's so unfortunate. It's a precision header, isn't it, from Pires. Look at that ball again from Bergkamp. Good save from Wright. And that is a difficult header from Pires. Take nothing away from him. To get it on target's difficult enough. Because it bounces viciously. He helps it back towards goal. Couldn't have put it any better position.
He scored against Liverpool with a spectacular free kick. He scored against Everton with a spectacular header. 16 goals for the season now for the man in possession, Robert Pires. Only 12 minutes gone and Arsenal already 2 goals to the good. The sort of start that Everton must have feared. They had their big emotional moment, of course, at the weekend, beating Newcastle and then seeing Arsenal beat Liverpool to ensure that Everton would finish 4th. And in all honesty, it must be difficult for their players to pick it up again against such excellent opponents as Arsenal. But they're professionals, they're paid to do a good job, and I'm sure David Moyes will remind them of that. They've got to do better than this.
I think that would have been his biggest concern tonight, David Moyes. I think that's exactly what Arsene Wenger would have been looking for his players to go out and try and get 3, 4, maybe 5 goals. Carry on in this vein of form, they will do. I think it's important from Everton's point of view. They've obviously had a good week. They must have been celebrating. But they are professional. And the last thing they need is to get beat 4-5-0. Doesn't do the morale any good at all. They don't want to be chasing shadows for 90 minutes. I think they've just got to get a bit tighter. They've got to get some tackles in and generally push up as a team.
Arsenal won the 5 home games in a row they'd had before tonight, scoring 16 goals in the process. So they're well on course for Highbury to maintain its 4 goals a game average for the season. And we haven't had the first quarter of an hour yet. Rare mistake by Pires.
They are dominating the possession, aren't they, Arsenal? It was a good start, like I said, from Everton, the first 5 minutes or so. As soon as that goal's gone in, total dominance from Arsenal.
We've already mentioned Arsenal's phenomenal scoring record. That's 81 now, but they have let in 34. That's already 8 goals more than they conceded in the whole of last season. So there is a glimmer of hope in that statistic for Everton. But of course, David Moyes' team are not prolific scorers themselves.
But they're not. I don't think the formation allows them to be. When you play a 4-1-4-1 like they have for most of the season, or a 4-5-1, the key statistic there is the one up front. When you've only got one player up front, it does make it difficult. Poor old James Beattie challenging for the ball now. Even if you flick the ball on, there aren't too many players going to get on the end of it.
He's hardly had a touch apart from that first mistake by Senderos that gave him possession. Vieira loses out to Arteta. Kulban to his left, McFadden to his right.
Again, it's half a chance for Everton. Better still this time from James Beattie. Arteta's looked lively when he's got the ball. Does well, Beattie, because he comes inside. Again, trying to curl it into the far corner. Comfortable save again.
And Percy. Edu. Now Lauren. On to Perez. A bit optimistic that was.
I don't think Thierry Henry would have got that one.
I don't think Linford Christie in his prime would have got that one. He waits, he watches, he wonders, and as usual he's got an expression to sum up his feelings.
He knows we're watching him. And what a fantastic player. It'd be nice to see him back on the pitch. Been a great credit to the Premiership since his arrival.
Not entirely sure David Moyes would agree with your emotions there, but
I certainly won't. He's the last person you want to see on the pitch.
Yeah, 2-0 down in the quarter now. You don't really want to see the Premiership's leading scorer coming on. Senderos, Vieira, on to Van Persie. And it reaches Reyes. Seems equally at home in that wide position on the left as he does as a central striker. So many excellent young players Arsene Wenger has brought in his time here, as well as the established stars. Dennis Bergkamp is trying to send out a message, a reminder to his manager of just how useful he can still be to Arsenal Football Club. We couldn't have done much better.
I don't think he needs to, Alan. I honestly feel that Arsene Wenger knows exactly what he can do. He works with him every day. I think the only question when you get into your mid-30s is, have you still got the fitness? Have you still got the desire? I think the answer is quite simply yes. I'll be very, very surprised if they don't sign him on another one-year contract. I think the fans will demand that. Perhaps eventually, long term, there might be a place for him on the coaching staff, because he is a big presence, not just on the pitch but off the pitch as well.
If he's still here, he'll celebrate 10 years at Arsenal in a few weeks' time. As Carsley breaks forward for Everton and loses out to Campbell. Vieira. Nice touch from Van Persie. The elbow was very tight to him, crossing it through to McFadden. Good tackle. Oh, Edu. The referee has brought Arsenal back to give the free kick for the initial challenge by James McFadden. There's Edu. Vieira. Oh, it was almost another excellent ball. Struggling to cope with the pace and the quality of Arsenal's football at the moment. What about that as well? A little back flick from Reyes. And Vieira storms through to find Van Persie. Offside was the final outcome.
Lovely move again. Lovely football. What about the flick from Reyes? I think that's called showboating, isn't it? Fantastic 1-2. From Vieira as well. A little bit lucky when he did eventually get through him.
Watson looking for PT. Senderos got there first.
He needed to make the interception. Taking up a good position, James Beattie at the far post. But get him the service, he will score goals, James Beattie for Everton. Although I do think we'll see the best of him next season. A difficult opening first season, or half a season for him. Always difficult settling into your new club. I think we'll see the best of BT next season. Certainly good enough to play for Everton.
Everton have lost their last 3 away games, and in fact they've only managed 1 win in the last 10 on the road. That was at Aston Villa a couple of months ago now. But generally speaking, their away form has been a massive improvement on last season. fantastic roller coaster ride he's had. 7th in his first season, they almost reached Europe. 17th last season, they were almost relegated. Now they have qualified for Europe. And, by the way, he is the first Everton manager to finish above Liverpool in the league table for 18 years.
Howard Kendall, the last one, I take it.
Well, you know your Everton history better than I do, TC.
I knew you wasn't going to join in that one, Alan.
Here's Weir. Gets it back from Arteta. Yobo. Yes, Everton actually won the league that season, and Liverpool were runners-up. Days when Merseyside truly dominated the championship. I guess you could say over the last 12 months that mantle has moved to the capital. But Arsenal no longer have it all their own way in their own backyard. A certain team from a dozen miles west of here are going to have a major influence, I guess, for many years to come.
There's no doubt about that. But let's not forget the team who's in the Champions League as well. They've done well to get there.
Lobo finding Watson. Back to the right. BT down the centre. Van coming in from the left. There's certainly plenty of width in this Everton attack. But you don't want to give the ball away that cheaply to Arsenal. Percy picks out Reyes, who's onside. Vieira. Perez. There's Lauren. Senderos. Patrick Vieira. Perez. And Arsenal just stroking it about with such apparent ease. It looks so simple, but it's so hard to achieve this kind of football.
Well, I think football is a simple game, and if you can play 1 and 2 touch as well as what Arsenal do, that's why it looks so simple. It's all about movement, as we saw with both goals. It's about the weight of pass as well. As I mentioned it, anyone could play 1 and 2 touch, but if you smash the ball at someone, you can't then play the next ball 1 or 2 touch. That's what Arsenal do so well. When they do pass it to their teammate, they just stroke it in. They allow them to play the next ball 1 and 2 touch. And the movement is exemplary, fantastic, particularly in midfield, in the wide positions and up front.
I wish we'd started counting the passes in this move.
Nutmeg as well there, I think, on Lee Carsley.
Lauren. Still, Everton can't get it back. Here's Van Persie. You can see he had only one thought in his mind at the end of that string of Arsenal passes.
I think Lauren wanted the ball back and gave it to him. There's only one thing on Van Persie's mind. Watch Lauren. Doesn't stand and watch it. Goes inside, makes a great run, wants it back. There's only one thing on Van Persie's mind. There's Lauren on the penalty spot with a cross. Well, he's got every right to have a shot though, Van Persie.
Everton have got to do their best to try and get some kind of foothold in this game before half-time. They've been very much second best. There's BT. Kilban. Useful cross. Watson goes for it with Lehman. And I think probably fouled the keeper.
I think that was a good take. Confident take. There have been times this season where he has looked a bit dodgy from crosses. Not the big pressure from Watson. Keeps hold of the ball.
Arsenal finally slowed it down. Playing it back in, but straight to Edu. He had so much time to bring it down. Vieira. Kilban. Good challenge by Senderos. Very good tackle.
He's been quality, hasn't he, since he got into the team?
Here's Arteta for Everton. Good strike, but always going wide, I think. Took a deflection for a corner.
I think it was off Senderos again, wasn't it? The deflection. How vital was it? Vieira, who gets caught in possession, strikes it early. It was enough to take it wide. Good spot from Alan Wiley.
That's a good header of the ball. Behind him. Elbows there too on the far post. He's not that far away. Still managed to keep possession. Watson got a shot in. Carsley beaten to it by Cole. And this is where Arsenal use their pace to such great effect. Oh, what a superb ball. Pistoni's covering was absolutely textbook.
Well, it had to be. Again, Everton corner. Look how fast they break Arsenal. What about this for a ball again? In behind the Everton defence. Perhaps a foul by Reyes in the end on Pistoni. Not been given. It was good covering by the left back.
Bergkamp hits it. Just as well for Everton. David Weir was in the way.
Well, he done well, David Weir. He has to make up a lot of ground. Look how much ground. Been obstructed originally by Vieira. Does well to get anywhere near him.
Edu. Senderos. Yeah, it was a lovely layoff. Bergkamp spots the run from Van Persie and picks him out. It was a difficult ball to control for the youngster. Goal kick. Well, these two teams have thoughts only for the Champions League next season. But of course, there are 4 teams down the bottom of the table whose thoughts are very much on the Premier League. Survival Sunday. You can see all the action unfold on Sky Sports 1. At 2, we start Fulham against Norwich on 1. And then on Sky Sports Extra at 3, Southampton against Manchester United. There's Ashley Cole for Arsenal, who lead 2-0 here. The poor ball, Arteta with the interception. Now Pistoni. Everton's throw. Kilban. Carsley. Pistoni. Very good challenge again by Senderos, who just seems to get better and better with every game he plays.
He does go to ground. He does invariably win the ball as well.
What a ball. Bergkamp, another one. Then from Vieira and Van Persie. This time couldn't finish. Another sweeping move.
Great football again from Arsenal. Reyes wanted the ball on the left. Again, Van Persie trying to shoot.
Edu. Vieira. There's Perez. Waiting for Lauda to join in. Here he is. Now Vieira. Edu. Brilliant skill from the Brazilian, and he then gives it away to Carsley. Players doing well to wrestle back possession. Vieira. Bergkamp. Reyes. What another lovely ball from Reyes. Ashley Cole.
A disappointing cross in the end, but he does make such great runs, doesn't he, Ashley Cole? Always looking to get in from that left wing position. Diogo does well, stands his ground. Disappointing end to the move, but again, great movement from Arsenal.
Here's Pistone. Watson. Kilban. Easy again for Raymond.
It's too near the goalkeeper. You're going to put crosses in, at least give James Beattie something to go for.
Yeah, another brilliant ball. Reyes. And Percy free, edge of the box. There's Vieira. Oh! A wonderful strike.
Lovely dummy, wasn't it, from Edu? Gets perhaps one of these a season, doesn't he, Patrick Vieira? They all want the ball. There's a dummy. Superb stuff. How close was it? Very close, wasn't it? Unfortunately, he cuts across the ball, Vieira. You've got to do that to try and get it in the top corner. Just puts too much in it. Very close, though.
Exhibition football so far from Arsenal. It's like watching a footballing version of the Harlem Globetrotters. Arteta. And his clearance finds Pires. Didn't let him have an easy ride, but he still finds the perfect through ball for Bergkamp. Now Van Persie, Yobo's tackle. Van Persie's beaten him. And Yobo at the second attempt gets it clear. Not a bad ball either for Arteta. He knows his side. Very much second best at the moment.
There's no doubt about that. I think he will be pleased, David Moyes, that it is only 2-0. Because if they can get a goal back, Everton, it will change things. He'll be pleased just to get in 2-0 at half-time, perhaps reorganise. He has got options on the bench. Likes of Ben and Ferguson can come on. They'll only be worth a while doing that if you're still only 2-0 down. Any more goals, it makes it difficult, whoever you've got on the bench.
Just one more game left, of course, after tonight, and that's also away. They play Bolton Wanderers at the Reebok on Sunday. Everton have 61 points. Incredibly, that's 22 points more than they had at this stage last season. Kilban winning it back for them, but couldn't keep possession for long. Perez, Edu. And the Arsenal fans find their voices again. As Reyes finds Campbell. And to Vieira. An orthodox return ball from Perez. Lauren. Reyes. Lovely stuff from Vieira. And off they go again, Arsenal. Edu. This is Pires. Lauren. Cheers greeting every accurate ball. And most of them are. Switches the angle to Lauren on the right. Bergkamp. Wonderful stuff, isn't it? Beautiful little triangles. And then the devastating through ball for Cole, whose back heel was brilliant, and Percy couldn't get there. Reyes did. Goal kick, but what a move again.
What a goal that would have been. It's that run from Ashley Cole. Great vision from Vieira. Ashley Cole does brilliant. He was running out of ground, Tries the back heel. Both Van Persie and Reyes can't get a shot on target.
And the
self-boring
I'm
Arsenal.
going to say the self-mocking chant rolls around Highbury again.
Nothing boring about this team and the way they play football. All that diving header.
There's Sol Campbell. FA Cup final places up for grabs, of course, so there's plenty of incentive for Arsenal to keep playing this game to the best of their ability. I don't think we'll see them easing off, particularly people like Sol Campbell. Remarkably enough, his cup final place far from assured. Here's Edu. Lovely ball over the top again, just too far this time for Reyes.
He stopped his run, didn't he, Reyes? All he was worried about Richard Wright coming out. If he'd have continued his run, he would have got the ball.
To watch Arsenal in this kind of mood, but I think we've seen evidence again, Tony, this season of just how important defensive stability is. Everton, for instance, have actually scored less goals than they scored in the whole of last season. We'll come back to that because here's another Arsenal goal on the way. Patrick Vieira with a little dink over the goalkeeper makes it 3-0.
You don't need to mention the man who's involved again. Everyone cuddling him. But this is an exquisite finish from Patrick Vieira. Look at the one-touch passing. There's Bergkamp, involved at the start. Back to him again. Look at that through ball. He just makes it look so easy. It's not an easy finish. Again, way of pass from Dennis Bergkamp. But that is not an easy finish from Patrick Vieira. He makes it look easy. Look how big Richard Wright is. Stands up. He does everything right. He still scoops it over him. 3-0 to Arsenal. Who can say they don't deserve it? It's been absolutely fantastic to watch.
Reminiscent of Gudjonsson's goal for Chelsea at Old Trafford last night. Well, I was going to make a point about Arsenal's defensive problems this season, but if you can score goals the way they have in the opening half an hour or so here, who needs to defend that? I guess they could argue. But it is a fact, though, that that's something they've got to work on again next season. As I say, Everton, scoring less goals than they did last season, have done so much better because they let fewer in.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I don't think there's ever been any question about Arsenal having the ability to score goals. But if you look at the top team this season, and there's no doubt that Chelsea have been the top team, they've got the best defensive record. And I think that's what Arsenal have just got to look to improve next season. But I think looking at Senderos, Sol Campbell and Toure, if they can keep the players fit, I think they will do a lot better next season. Perhaps a goalkeeping position as well, because I think that's been a problem for them. Lehmann's been excellent the last 10 or 12 games. But if they can be a bit more solid as a back four and with the goalkeeper, there's no doubt in the quality they've got going forward. But I think they might need to get Dennis Bergkamp signed up very quickly, because he's been involved in all 3 goals.
Easy to suggest that if Arsenal don't, somebody else will, but he has gone on record, Bergkamp, as saying that if he does not get the offer of a new contract here at Highbury, he will almost certainly retire from the game, and that would be a big loss. He's far too good for that.
Well, I can't see him playing for another English club. About time we've seen a tackle go in. Was it 40 odd minutes? First real tackle. Running malice there from Lee Carsley. No yellow card. Probably the right decision. I think Everton have got to start to get a few tackles in. They've got to try and squeeze up as a team, but of course it's so difficult, because if you squeeze up, it leaves gaps in behind, and that's where the goals are coming from.
Another tackle from Carsley, another free kick. I don't think he'll get away with another one after that. And in fact, he might have had a bit too much to say to referee Alan Wiley.
I think that's what he's saying to him. Second tackle in about, 30 seconds. catches him on the ankle. It's good skill from Edu, wasn't it? A bit of verbals just after that. I'm sure he's saying to him, no more tackles, I don't want to book you, but if I have to, I will do.
Full marks to Alan Wiley for dealing with that so sensibly, though.
Yeah, there's many referees who no doubt would have brandished a yellow card very quickly there. Sometimes you just got to talk to the player, and that's what he's done. No doubt it's the last warning, though.
Carsley's 100th appearance for Everton tonight. He doesn't want to mark it in the wrong way. Well, the Arsenal fans just reminding their manager of what they think of a certain Dennis Bergkamp. Here's Campbell. Now Perez. Louder. Reyes back to Campbell. Bergkamp. Lovely ball. Edu. That's a rather cynical trick by Yobo, and that could lead to further problems for Everton here. Perez scored from a very similar position to this against Liverpool on Sunday.
Could be a bit of fight about who takes it. We've got so many options. Did Bergkamp score from this range? Reyes, Perez, you've mentioned. Van Persie's put the ball down. He seems to want to shoot from everywhere tonight. Choice of 4, and they've told Perez to go away.
One thing is clear, it clearly won't be a quick free kick. Mr. Wiley made that obvious. It's Van Persie. Oh, that was unusual. Persie was almost standing on the line. Oh, great save by right end from Reyes.
With 2 fantastic saves from Richard Wright. I think that's possibly the better one because he's got Perez right in front of him. Wonderful strike comes in, but that's at a nice height for Richard Wright. Swerving, again he's got a defender in front of him as well. Perhaps I'm not doing him a credit. 2 good saves from Richard Wright. He'll be pleased with that. A few question marks about him in his Arsenal spell, and when he went to Everton, that'll do his confidence no end of good.
Well, Arsenal have certainly been the scourge of Merseyside these last few days. They played just as well as this in the first half against Liverpool, and they've got an extra goal in the first 45 minutes against Everton.
Oh, he's a lucky boy, isn't he, Yobo? You just cannot do that against this Arsenal team.
There's no end of season feel about this, not from Arsenal's point of view anyway. They're in the mood, aren't they?
They certainly are. It's been a privilege to be here tonight as well. The quality of football has been superb. Let's hope it continues into the second half. I'm sure it will do. If it does get a bit dull, they've got the likes of Thierry Henry to come on. Fantastic, isn't it? What a great time to be an Arsenal supporter.
Well, I'm certain we will see Henry at some stage.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, is there? They need to get him on as well. I think if you're winning 3-0, I'm not quite sure he'll play the whole of the second half, but they need to give him a bit of sharpness, a bit of fitness, and get him ready for the FA Cup final, because that is the major game left for Arsenal this season.
Loudon can afford to slip and still retain possession. A minute to half time. Everton's players will be glad to hear that whistle, but maybe not the admonishment that will surely come their way from their manager. He's a fiercely competitive Scot. It looks as though he's already lining up a few ear bashings.
It'll be interesting to see what tactics he does use at half time. 3-0 down. Does he have a right go at them? Or does he suggest, get out there, you can do a lot better than that, I know you can. Try and get a couple of goals in the second half. Might need to make a couple of changes.
It's a matter of pride as well now for Everton, isn't it?
Certainly is.
Here's BT.
He's had a couple of half chances, hasn't he, James Beattie? This is very difficult. He's coming down, he's off balance, leaning back. There's only one place that ball's going to go.
2 goals in 12 games for Beattie since his move from Southampton in January. Senderos has given it away to Kilbat. Vieira comes to win it back. Vieira again. Campbell gets it back from Cole. Arsenal now just seeing out the half, looking to preserve their 3-goal advantage, which could in truth have been even greater. The fine saves by Richard Wright, former Arsenal keeper, have kept Everton in with at least a slim hope here, but it is slim, very slim. Magnificent, virtuoso performance from a wonderful footballer. Dennis Bergkamp had a part to play in all 3 Arsenal goals, and what superb goals they were. Robin van Persie on target first, then Pires with a header from distance at the end of a sweet move. Patrick Vieira with that lovely little dink over the goalkeeper, making it 3-0. Another wonderful 45 minutes of top quality football from Arsenal. They lead by 3-0.
Well, we wondered if Arsenal might be preoccupied by the FA Cup final at the end of next week. On the evidence of the first 45 minutes, I don't think so. We'll have George's thoughts after the break. Dennis Bergkamp is after a new contract. I think he's gone a long way towards securing one. Been at the heart of everything. They've scored 3. They could easily have had 3 more. Everton do have their work cut out.